Alright, today we're doing the notes on graphing inequalities. This is something that you should have done in 6th grade, so it should be mostly a review. So let's talk about these signs for a second. This, let's zoom in a little bit, make it easier to see. This is a less than sign, meaning turning it the other way would make it a greater than sign. This one is a less than or equal to. Let's line under it. That's where I get the equal to part. Okay, so that makes this one a greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to. Look what the symbols are. So when we look at this, we're talking about the difference between an equation and an inequality. So an example of an equation is right here, 2x equals 10. If I solve that, I would divide by 2 on both sides to get x equals 5. And x can only equal 5 in this equation. So nothing else I could plug in there that would work. Equations have one answer. That's it. There's only one answer to every equation. Now if I look at the inequality, this inequality says x is greater than 5. This is x is greater than 5. So x is greater than 5. What can it be? Well, it can't be 5. Definitely can't be 5. But it could be 6. It could be 50. It could be 1,000. Any number that's greater than 5. Have lots of answers. So inequalities have multiple answers. There are many different answers, and I'd sure multiply. Multiple, there we go. Many answers. Okay, multiple answers for inequalities. So there's not just an equal sign, there's more than one answer. That's the difference. So when we look to graph these, we're going to use just a number line, and we're going to use circles and arrows. So an open circle I think of like a hole. So if I put a hole on a number, that number falls right through. It is not part of my answer. Open circle you're going to use with a less than or a greater than. That's an open circle. Okay, it's not an answer. A closed circle, I think of it's holding on to that number, meaning it is an answer. So this is what you'll see when you have a less than or equal to, or a greater than or equal to. So when you graph this, you need to ask yourself a couple questions. What kind of circle will it be? Open or closed? What number should it be on the number line? And does the arrow go left or right to show the possible answers? So less thans are going to go to the left. So that's a less than or equal to. Greater thans are going to go to the right. Greater than or equal to. Those go to the right. Okay, so let's look at this first one. I've got x is less than -4. So my less than tells me that's an open circle on -4. And this less than tells me I'm going to the left. So everything to the left of -4 would be an answer. Now, it's kind of cool if you have the variable first like this with the x first. You can see that the less than goes left. It's pointing that way. A less than or equal to would point to the left if I made it into an arrow. So because it's pointing that way, I know my arrow goes to the left. So possible answers for this: -6, -12, -20. Okay, let's turn on to the next page. Y is greater than or equal to 3. Greater than or equal, that means I've got a closed circle. I'm holding on to the 3. It is part of my answer. This is pointing to the right. It's a greater than, so that's the way my arrow goes. Possible answers for this could be 7, 25, 5.5, and 3 would actually be an answer to this because I'm holding on to that. It could be equal to. Next one, W is greater than -1. Greater than is an open circle on -1, and I'm going to the right. Possible answers for this one: 0, 30, 1.5. Not an answer to this would be -1. -1 is not an answer. It's falling through that hole. Not an answer. Let's look at the next two. R is less than or equal to -4. Less than or equal, that's a closed circle on -4. Closed circle, and I'm going to the left. Possible answers here would be -4, -18, -7. Okay. T is less than 6. That's an open circle on 6. And it's going to the left. Possible answers here: 0, 4, -8. 6 is not an answer to this problem. It's falling through that hole. That open circle does not include 6. So let's talk about one. It's a little bit different. So if we look at this, it says to make it easier to graph, rewrite with the variable first, then flip the inequality symbol. Okay. So what I see here is -4 is greater than or equal to C. Here's my variable. I want that written first. So I'm going to rewrite this. I put my C and my -4. And now I need to flip the inequality symbol. I'm going to flip the inequality symbol. So instead of pointing towards the C, I'm going to have it point towards the C that way. So all I did was flip it around. Now I can graph it easily. It's a closed circle on -4. And I should go to the left. Possible answers here: -4, -400, -18. Lots of possible answers. So let's look at these next two where we also have to flip. So I'm going to rewrite this. So I write P first, -5 second. I was pointing towards the -5. I continue to point towards the -5. Okay. I've got a closed circle on -5 going to the right. Possible answers: -5, 0, 300. Over here, I'm going to replace this N first, 4 second. It's pointing towards the 4, so I will continue to point towards the 4. Well, I've got an open circle on 4, and I'm going to the right. Possible answers here: 5, 3,000, 6.2. Many answers. All right, let's look at the next part. This next part is we're going to switch our thinking here. So instead of graphing the inequality that we're given, we're going to write the inequality that is shown in the graph. So first thing to think about is what number is the circle on? Next thing, is it open or closed? And I'll tell you what kind of symbol you need and which way is the arrow pointing. So I'm going to look at this. First thing I need is a variable. I'm going to use x. X, circle is on 6. Okay, I look at where the arrow is pointing. It's pointing to the left. And because it's a closed circle, I know I need the equal to. So this is the graph of x is less than or equal to 6. Next one, I'm going to use a as my variable. This is on -1. Okay, pointing to the right. And it's an open circle, so I do not need to put the line under it to make it equal to. Next, I'm going to use S. It is on 6. Okay, pointing to the right. Because it is a closed circle, I need the equal to part. The last one here, going to use a P. It is on 3. Going to the left, and it is an open circle, so I do not need the line underneath of it to show equals. So these have been the notes on graphing inequalities.